Oh, I can't do it. This one? Rain! It's time to game. Welcome to Etc. Tonight is a different night. If you have any of my social media, you will know that I am building a PC this evening. Hello, Ip Girl. Welcome. As always, it's wonderful to see you. So, we're gonna get started here because it's gonna take about 3 hours, probably approximately 3 hours to do this because I talk too much. So we'll see what else happens. And Vader has been being a pain in the ass since I got home, and in a second he's gonna find a way up onto the table. So just know that he might be appearing. Speak of the devil. If he lies down on this side, I'll leave him there for a little while. I have my I finally got a magnetic screwdriver. If you watch any of my other builds, you'll see that I was desperately looking for one of these. I have trusty Buck, a buck knife. Get to see the big screen, not just a little in the corner. Yes, true. And you'll see Vader over here on the right. My right, maybe your left. I don't know. We'll see how long he lasts there. So we have got the Corsair 200R, the case that I've been using for the last 3 builds. We'll pop this up here for a sec. It's simple case. Power, microphone, headphone, 3.0, USB jacks. It doesn't have any cool windows, but it does have a lot of space for fans. It does have got all the goodies. It does have a filter on the bottom where your power supply goes, which is really nice and works really well. I can say that because I know I've checked mine. It works. Put this down here for a sec. We got Gigabyte motherboard. We have 2 SSD drives from Crucial, the MX 500 series, a 250 and a 1 terabyte. We have a Intel Core i7. It's the 8700K. It's the unlocked processor. So Bruce can overclock his PC if he wants to. I won't do it. We got some Corsair Vengeance LPX 3200 and megahertz, and it's 16 gigabyte. The heavy stuff. A simple all-in-one cooler. Corsair H60. It's this simple, it's cheap, and it does a good job. Especially for what we're going to be doing. Stop rubbing your face all over my boxes, cat. We have the Corsair TX850M, which means modular. It's semi-modular. The power cable that actually goes to your motherboard does not detach, which makes it semi-modular, not a full modular power supply. And he wanted an 850 watt one, so he could upgrade later if he needed to. We have an RTX 2070. It's a super, whatever that means. I haven't used an RTX yet. I have not seen one. They most likely look the same, but that's what we got. I think that's it. Oh, and I have an HDMI cable that he'll need for his monitor and his video card. Okay. We're gonna put Vader down on the ground because I don't want him up here. He thinks he owns the house. He probably does own the house, but hey, come on. I don't need stray cat hair running all over the place. Now, this board didn't come from Newegg. Most of the items I get are from Newegg. So I'm scared. It's supposed to be brand new. That's what I wanted, brand new. And we have our power connector for the front ports. We have some SATA cables. We have our wonderful sticker. Well, there's stickers in there and that's in there, so I'm really happy with that. We have our back plate, which is in there as well, which is great. We have our book, which we need to keep, and the multilingual installation guide, which we probably won't use. Because we'll need more specific stuff, like where the RAM goes and that type of stuff. Which port to plug things into. So I always do this up here on the table. Oh, just so you know, when par for course, I was taking the case out of out of the box, and I know for a fact there's going to be static electricity when I do that. So I did that beforehand, and I got zapped. So here's our motherboard. It's the same motherboard I've been using for the past three builds, and from what I can say is it's working fine. This looks fine. Because it looks like it might have been an open box. I don't know, but everything looks okay. I don't see anything that jumps out at me looking at it. It's got the cover. It's got all your levers here. So we're gonna go with it. We're gonna pray that it works. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna put in the processor, CPU, and then we're gonna put in the RAM. And I always want to check motherboard to put in the 16 gig. And I usually go to the back, but the table of contents should tell us memory somewhere, hopefully. Installing memory, page 9. I should know that. I think pretty sure that's the same page it took us to last time, right? The 4 memory slots are divided into 2 channels, and each channel has 2 memory slots as follows. Channel A is 2 and 4. Channel B is 1 and 3. So it says that if I have 2 modules, I can put it in 4 and 2. Dual channel mode cannot be enabled if only 1 memory module is installed. When enabling dual channel with 2 or 4 memory modules, recommend that memory of the same capacity, brand, speed, and chips are used inside. So yeah, we do know that. Okay. So channel A would be 2 and 4. So on your motherboard, it actually says here it says DDR4_4 2 3 1, which always confuses me because I always think you're supposed to go like here and here, right? That's 4. That would be 3. But this is saying to put them next to each other, which I don't think is a... DDR4 underscore 4 and DDR4 underscore 2. I'm going to turn it so I can read it. And it's showing me the top 2 slots here, which is always tricky, I guess, at first. Let me see if there's another page where it lists the memory really quickly here, if I can. I mean, that's how it's listed, so that's how I'm going to put it in. If any of you real PC builders out there can tell me. Oh, it says DDR4, and even here on the big layout of the motherboard, DDR4 number 4 is at the top, number 2 is the second one in, and that's what it's telling me to put it in. Hold on a second. Nope, I'm incorrect. Reading that wrong. Why does it? So I either put it in 2 and 1 or 4 and 3. Now that I'm reading this correctly, I think. Two modules, DDR2, DDR1. Which would be the different colors. Okay, we're going with that. We're gonna go with that, I think. Sorry, you can't help much. Come on. You've watched like 3 of these already. You should you should know, right? I'm touching the case that's over here to my left to make sure I get any residual static electricity off my body. Opening these things. Okay, once again, these chips only go in one way, right? There's a slot down here in the middle. See that slot? Right here. There's a slot on your chip slots here, and only go in one way, so. And even that shows you that. So I guess we're gonna go with 2 and 1. So that's the gray ones. 2 and 1 are the gray ones. So let's close these so we don't use those. And you push them in and they pop in. And you're always afraid that you're gonna break them or do something with them. But they're tough enough to overstuff. Okay, same thing. Don't touch the gold pins. Try not to touch the gold pins when you're doing this. Then push it straight down and the edges pop up. Now we have our RAM installed. Simple, simple, simple. Okay. One down. Few more things to go. Okay, processor. i7 8700K. K means it's an unlocked processor. I typically do not use unlocked processors because I don't overclock my systems. I'm not into that. If you're into that, that's wonderful. If you're not into it, don't pay the extra money for it if you don't have to, right? If you're not going to overclock your system, don't pay the money for a K SKU if you use Intel. I know a lot of people use AMD, but I've always used Intel, and I've never had any issues. Knock on wood. Tonight's the night, right? So hopefully we don't run into any issues. This one didn't even come with a heat sink, which is weird. I guess because it's overclocked, because it's an unlocked set. I'm guessing that's why. Because it's unlocked. Because they know you're gonna be putting, you know, they know people will be overclocking them. Maybe, I don't know. Okay, so our processor here, we're just gonna open it up somehow. Push the lever down, slide it out. That pops up. Leave the protective cover on. The cover will pop off when you close it, when you reclose it with the processor in the slot. Okay, so you got to find the dots or the arrows. So the arrow's here on this corner, and the arrow is on that side, this side over here. So we're gonna pull our chip out, we're gonna line up those arrows, and we're gonna drop the chip into the slot there. Don't touch the gold pins on the bottom of your CPU. Handle it by the edges only. You don't want to get any grease from your fingers or anything on those pins. Okay. So pull it out by the edge. Line up the arrows. Just position it over the top. Okay. Hopefully that's it. We're gonna push our what the hell is this thing called? I'm gonna push the lid down. The protective cover should pop off. I'm gonna tuck that under, and our processor is installed. Voila, processor is installed. Try not to mess around with the top of it with oily fingers. Wash your hands before you start is usually what I suggest. Okay. Putting this box back together is always very hard. I don't know why. It always seems to not fit in the same way that it came out. See, told you. Maybe like that. Something like that. I don't know. Yeah, we're gonna put this back in here. And there is a little Intel Core sticker on the back of this if you want to attach that to your PC to prove that you have Intel i7 processor. It doesn't mean to overclock it. So when you get a PC or you're looking at PCs, they always tell you about how fast the CPU runs, and they'll say this, like laptop CPUs, a lot of them run at like 2.7 gigahertz. Desktop computers Their processors are typically faster. 3.0 gigahertz, 4.0 gigahertz, and that type of stuff. So each processor is tested before it's boxed up and given a name, right? They test it to see what it will run at. And so the i7 8700s run at 3.7 gigahertz, okay? So that's not the highest it can run. It can run faster if you can keep the chip cool. So overclocking is making the chip run faster without burning it up, so that instead of getting 3.7 gigahertz, you're getting, say, 4.0 or 4.1 or 4.5 or 5.0, depending on how good the chip is built and how cool you can keep it. Is that a good explanation? Okay, so those are together, and we're gonna put this to the side for a little bit, and we're gonna pull our case up here because we're gonna mount this into our case. So what I like about this case is it's got thumb screws, so we're gonna take off both sides and we're gonna pull the junk out of it. It usually comes with screws and that type of stuff to help you mount your motherboard and help you mount your hard drives and your fans. And we need to set it up to get ready to put the motherboard inside of it. So they're just simple thumb screws you can unscrew. You don't have to crank them down when you put them back on. This holds the sides on. So inside the case, because it's really light, because it's like aluminum, it's not a steel constructed case. In here are your like wire ties and your screws and that type of stuff. Get these out of here. Okay, and then also you'll see cables hanging here. There's a fan in the back, which we are actually going to remove, and there's a fan up front here, which we are going to keep. And then there are the other cables, and these cables connect your power button up front, your USB 3 slots, your microphone and headphone jack, and then the lights and that type of stuff. So we're going to loosen that up. And lay this down here. So the motherboard sits on standoffs, which are usually in the case. Some cases have extra holes where you can actually mount more standoffs, and that's what the motherboard actually sits on. You don't want the motherboard sitting directly on the metal case, so it sits on top of these standoffs. And on the motherboard, it has little rings that sit on these standoffs where you'll actually screw the motherboard into to make it secure. Before we do put the motherboard in, we're going to put in what it calls the I/O shield, or the back plate. And let's see, I can get this open. And this is just a piece of, looks like aluminum to me. That's what I always say it is. And it's very thin and very flimsy. But that is going to go, that's going to fill this slot here where your I/O ports are, your USB ports, your network port, your sound ports, and all that stuff. And this actually just snaps in to the spot It just snaps in from the back side. I like to put the system on end before I do that. So on the motherboard, as you can see here, the audio connectors are on the inside. So make sure that when you snap it in, you have the audio connector holes on the inside, on the inside of the case, on the inside, not like this, but like that. And that's why I looked, because I wanted to make sure I was doing it right. Okay. Okay, and that's snapped in there. Okay. So we're gonna open up our box here. We're gonna pull out some screws. We need to figure out which screws we use to mount the motherboard. And it's usually some pretty small ones. What I'll do is I'll take it out and I'll test it in one of the standoffs to make sure that it's the right screw. You don't want to put the wrong screw in here, and so it just takes a minute to test it. Okay, so these are the correct screws. Good pick, Ron. Okay. Move this out of the way. Yeah, grab our motherboard. Okay. So make sure that your I/O ports on the back here are lined up. Because you're gonna have to be able to access them later, right? When you plug things in. Typically the I/O ports, those are the easiest to, because they actually come through the holes that are in there, so it makes it pretty easy to line it up. So long as those are through and it looks good, you should be okay. So now we're gonna put the screws in to mount the motherboard in. And this time I have a magnetic screwdriver. You think it's magnetic? It's not doing a very good job of being magnetized. Okay. We're gonna put a couple into the easy slots first. Don't crank them down. Just get them in so that it holds the motherboard there. Because in case something's off, you don't want to have to redo the whole thing. Because some of them will be a little bit off because of the IO shield in the back. Because it's actually pushing the motherboard away. So you have to give it a little nudge up forward towards the IO shield to get it mounted, to get the screw to go in the hole. And it's always this corner that always gives me an issue. But with this long ass screwdriver, it helps. Okay. Try looking up on my laptop specs, and I think mine's a 2.7 gigahertz Intel Core i5, if I understand. Yes. And some of the processors have a natural overclock, like the hyper threading, I think is what it's called, where they'll increase their clock speed to help with harder tasks. Okay, so everything I put in here, I'm going to put in at finger tight, which is just like turning a screwdriver with just your fingers, and until it like tells you, okay, enough. Because you don't want to strip any of these screws, and you don't want to put it in there so tight that you can't get them out later. You can always go back later and readjust, or in essence, finger tighten them again. Because sometimes things settle or expand, and you just got to make sure that everything's in there okay. So everything looks okay for right now. That. Okay. I'm going to throw some of the easy things in here now, like the SSD drives, because those are just a screw. Simple installation. We're going to put two in here. One is going to be his boot drive, and one will be for his games. Of course, his games. Let's see here. Which one is this? Okay. So we're gonna remember which one is which. So I'm gonna put the smaller one on the bottom, and it's just a tiny, and it's really light because it's an SSD. There are no moving parts in it, and it's very nice that way. I'm going to see what screw we can use to mount this inside. For that, I think it's these. Let's see. Can you upgrade just certain parts of a computer, or is it best to just start fresh each time? So the issue with laptops is they're hard to upgrade. The newer ones nowadays, which depending on what you can get, are actually a lot of times you can upgrade the processor and or the video card in it. But what's nice about a desktop computer is that if you buy, say for instance, we have 16 gig of RAM right now in the system. If he needs more, there's 2 extra slots, so he can just go buy more RAM and add it. Even if he just had 8 gig of RAM, if later on he sold something and wanted to buy another RAM chip and put it into the system, you can easily upgrade the system from 8 gig, actually probably 4 gig, all the way up to 32 gig of RAM. And you can probably do it without throwing any away the old RAM that's already in there, right? So you have RAM that's in there and you just add to it. The processor is a little bit harder because of the type of chip that it is. There are a bunch of different chip sizes, and like this one is a LGA 1151, and then there's the LGA 1150, I think, and then there's different types of processor sizes, I guess is the best way for me to describe it. I'm not really sure. So you would have to find another chip that fits in the LGA 1151 slot. Considering this is one of the highest, I think this is the highest chip for this SKU, the i7 8700. I think you would have to go to the i7 9000 SKU to get a processor that's better than this. So his processor is pretty high, and he's probably not ever going to upgrade it unless Intel comes out with some miraculous processor that kills everybody's. Is way better than everybody else's, but hopefully that won't happen anytime soon. You can also add, if you wanted, depending on your motherboard, you can add a secondary, you can add a second video card. You can add a sound card if you're into music, because a lot of times the onboard sound isn't that great. It's pretty good for what it is, but a lot of what do they call them, music files? Those guys will add a secondary sound card into it and use that sound card, which was designed just for sound, messing with music and making sure you have the best sound you can with your music. Gamers, it's not that big of an issue, I don't think, because so long as you can hear the footsteps coming, you're usually pretty good to go in our games, right? So it's not that big of an issue. You can even add extra ports for USB connections if you have, for some reason, a ton of USB connections that you're doing stuff with. If your video card is not that great. You can pull your video card out if it's an external video card. You can pull that out and you can upgrade your video card. You will lose the one that you had, but in essence, you can upgrade most of the things in a desktop that you can't in a laptop. Typically, once you get a laptop, the most things you can do is upgrade the memory in it, if that. As well, if you buy a system, say I go to Best Buy and they have an Alienware system there or a Dell system there, it's a desktop and it's configured the way you like. A lot of times those systems are a lot cheaper than what you'll pay for if you build it yourself. The problem is there's no upgradability to those systems typically. And typically, if you want to upgrade something, you remove something and then replace it with something else. So unlike this system, I can add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, I can only add 6 because there's only 6 SATA ports. So I can have 6 hard drives in here, where your Dell system that you purchased off the floor might only allow you to have 1 or 2, because the motherboard only has 1 or 2 slots, and that's what makes that motherboard cheaper, which makes that system cheaper, and thus the low prices you see for a lot of desktops out at Best Buy and CompUSA or whatever PC place that you go to. And not only is that with things such as hard drives, but it's also could be memory slots. If it only has 2 memory slots, then you have to go buy 2 new sticks and remove the 2 old sticks and put the new sticks in. You just can't add to that. Somebody's pinging me. Okay. So it's and these hard drives are really nice, and this thing here, we can have up to 4 SSDs that comes with 4 easy slots, and then it has 1, 2, 3, 4 hard drives that you can put in here. Again, we only have 6 SATA connectors on here, but this board also has the M2 SATA. It has 2 M2 slots, which if you do run out of SATA ports on your motherboard, you can put the M2 hard drives into this motherboard. So there's a lot of options for this motherboard. So when the time comes, if you want to upgrade, you have a lot of options. I'm going to slide this one in here. It pops in. We put one of these little screws in there to hold it secure. Your graphics are more of the issue, and I'm noticing with your desktop. I have a desktop as well and was wondering about upgrading it. So what kind of desktop is it? I guess is my first question. And again, we just finger tighten these screws in. So is it a Dell? Is it a IBM? What is it? If you can get the serial number off of it, and you know the make, you can go typically to that website, say it's a Dell, and say it's a Precision 6060. You go to Dell's website, and you go to type in there Precision 6060, and or actually with Dell, if you type in the serial number, it'll show you your system. I think most of the sites will do that nowadays. If you get the serial number off of your computer and type it in at their site, it'll show you your system. And then you can say, and then you click the upgrade tab or something in there that might say upgrade, and see what your options are. If you can't do that, then you just open it up and look inside and see what your options are as well. Okay, so those two hard drives are mounted, and that's that. That's simple. Simple. I'm gonna close these up and put them away. Every time I look at all this stuff here, I think that I'm missing something. I don't know why. I'm going to open up the power supply now. The PSU, is sometimes it's called, for you nerds out there. After messing with plastic, make sure you touch the metal so you don't get in trouble, right? Let's see, we don't need this because that thing is mounted. Don't really need any of this stuff here now. Let's just move this up out of the way. We'll need those screws later. We do not need those. We should not need these. We shouldn't need these. Actually, those I think are fan screws, so we'll hold on to those for a sec. We don't need these. Skytech Shadow Gaming Computer Desktop. No clue. Skytech Shadow. Skytech. I'm assuming Skytech is the name for that, right? Never heard of Skytech. Okay. So this, also this this power supply should be have a gold, an 80+ gold rating, which means that it's more power efficient. Each of the power supplies come with typically each type of PC comes, each power supply comes with a rating. I think there's bronze, silver, gold, platinum, titanium, I think. And as you get up higher in that list, the more expensive they get, because the more efficient they get. So here is our power supply. Corsair GX850. There is a sticker on the front here that you should peel off. Plastic that you should peel off. Gotta do that without destroying what's underneath of it. Okay. A lot of people will pull these stickers off the sides too, because a lot of times they're different colors, but we seem to have a gray and black scheme going here, and so that fits in pretty well if you ask me. Again, it's modular, so you only plug in the cords that you need. This is a semi-modular power supply. A fully modular power supply, this cord here you would also be able to plug in. You don't know either? Okay. So typically the fan goes down, the big fan in the power supply goes down, and you want where you plug it into the wall, that section is going to pop out the back, and we just slide it on in here in that area, And we find the screws. Here's the actual power. Comes with a power cord. We don't need that right now. What did I do with the screws for the power supply? Oh, wait. Okay, this was the bag that was in it. It has zip ties. And there's some screws in here too. These are the screws you want to use. Use the screws that come with the systems, because they're made for them, right? A lot of times these screws are universal, but I always try to use the screws that come with what's there, and that way I don't have to worry about them not working or less likely to strip them. And usually it's 4 screws to mount it. And they gave us exactly 4 screws, which I don't like, but you know, they should give you at least 5, right? Just in case something goes wrong. Okay, so we're gonna just set this in here. There we go. So that lines up in the back. I'll send it up like that so you can see it. You still can't see it. Okay. So it's lined up in the back, and then we're going to screw it in. And again, don't screw it in all the way. Just get them mounted in first, and then after you know that it's in there right, you got the right slots, you got the right holes, then you can tighten it down. Okay. So a lot of the cases do come with outside, like this case has multiple holes for multiple size CPU, PSUs, and that way you just make sure you get it in the right hole. And then you can just finger tighten these down once they're done. Okay. So on this system, these are our main power cables. This powers your processor, and usually goes to the very top of your motherboard. And this powers your motherboard, which usually goes to the upper corner, typically, of your motherboard. So what's nice about this is you can just tuck them back here through these grommet holes. And this is going to come up to your ATX 12 volt connector, which is up here in this corner. You're not going to be able to see it. You're going to have to suffer. Okay. And we're going to plug this into it. Now this has a clip on it, so in essence it's keyed, and it only goes in one way. So figure it out. And then we're gonna plug it in here. As well as the actual ends have their own shape. I guess you can say that, so that it'll only go in one way, right? Should only go in one way. Okay. And it should snap on. And if you try to pull it off, you'll see that it won't come because you have to push in that little lever for it to release. Okay, so now that's on. And we're going to plug this into our motherboard up here, where this goes. And I bend the cables so that it makes it a little bit easier. And hopefully it snaps on just like this. It would make it really easy. I'm going to do it sitting down to make it even easier for me. Okay. Okay. And again, it'll only go in there one way, so if it doesn't seem to be sliding into the slots, turn it around. Okay, so there are connections to the motherboard, and all those cables will be back here, and we will tie these down after we're finished with what we're doing. Okay. So I'm going to pull this back fan off because we're going to be replacing that with our all-in-one cooler. And before you take that last one out, make sure you hold the fan so it doesn't fall down. Okay. Ba-dow. Okay, we will get back to the CPU a little later because we were not going to plug any of the cables in yet. We want to I'm going to mount the cooler first before we do that. So this is the H60, the Corsair H60 all-in-one cooler. What is it? AIO. You'll hear the other guys being like, "Yeah, I got an AIO." It's an all-in-one cooler, which means it's got a pump, it's got a radiator and the fluid, and it's enclosed. It's all enclosed. It's one complete system. It's all in one. You don't have to add fluid. You don't have to add pipes and that type of stuff. It's already all connected. You just gotta mount it. In the book here, there are two different types of mountings. One's for an Intel processor, one is for an AMD processor, so you'll probably need that for a little bit of guidance. And it comes with a fan. Okay, it comes with a radiator. It's this part here. Just like in your vehicle, just like in your car. Radiator. And then it has the pump. And which is here. Okay. So let's take a look at the instructions here just for a second so we know what parts we need. We have a couple bags of stuff. So we have the mounting brackets that help to support the core and typically go on the back of an Intel processor CPU, which is this one here. And it says in our book, it says that one is the Intel backplate. So that's the one we need. And then we need the LGA 11.5, they call it the 11.5X, okay? So we have some long screws, and we need those as well because they're for the fan. So I'm gonna pull those out. I'm gonna pull the washers out too because I know that the holes on the back of the case are a little bit bigger than the screw heads. And they have grommets on them. So we don't want those. We need to have those washers. Okay, so the Intel standoff is, well, the 11.5X standoff is the one with the heads that are of the same size. So I'm going to pull those out, and there should be 4 of them. 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to have our thumb screws, which are these thumb screws, which we use to tighten everything up. Let's see, they're radiator screws. I'm not sure we're going to need the radiator screws because we're going to use the fan screws, I think, for that. Okay. Okay, so our fan. Actually, let me see. There might be a way to do this. Let's see what the book says and see how we do this. So what we want is we want the fan to be blowing out the back. Blowing the hot air out, in essence, because the water is going to go through the system, go through the radiator, and then the fan's going to blow the air across the radiator and blow that hot air out of the system. So, okay, so the book here is telling me that the long screws are used for attaching the fan to the radiator, and then the short screws are for attaching the radiator to the case. Okay, so we will use those short screws as well. So let's get rid of the screws we don't need. And hopefully we don't need those washers for the radiator here. Okay, so this is going to go inside our system. I always put the pipes to the bottom. If your system's going to be standing on its side, then you might want to change that, but typically you want the water to be always where it can be accessed in case something goes wrong. So if the pipes are at the bottom, then water, there's always water in the pipes, and the pump is pumping the water through the radiator, through the bottom of the pipe. If you put it with the pipes at the top, if there is a reduction of fluid in here, the pump might not be able to get the fluid out if it doesn't reach the top of the radiator, right? So I always, and that's pretty much what they suggest as well, is to put the radiators down. Now, if your system is different and it's going to be on its side, then you might want to change how you put your radiator into the system. The pump does come pre-greased. Don't take this plastic off until you're ready to actually mount it onto your processor, okay? And you do not need to put extra grease, extra CPU grease on there. Because we all know CPU grease makes your CPU go faster, right? So I just want to see how that fits in there. Okay. Okay, so we're going to mount the fan on the inside here of this radiator. And it says to use the long screws. So on your on 99% of the fans that you get, there are indicators on it that say which way the fan spins and which way the air moves through the fan. You can see those arrows. It says that the air blows through this way, goes through the fan, and then it's spinning whichever way that is to that way. So the fan's spinning that way. And it's blowing air down. It would be blowing air down if it was running right now. Okay, so we want that air to blow out of the case. So we're going to mount this like this, so that's blowing through the radiator and then out the back of the case. Okay. Now you're screwing these screws into a metal radiator, so it is a little bit tight at first. So put the screws through, find the hole, and just get it caught, because it's going to feel like it's not going in, because it is like I said, you're screwing these screws into metal. And again, I don't tighten them all the way down until I know that everything is in and seated. Okay. So let's tighten this up so that the fan is nice and tight on there. And it's best to go cross corner, I'm told. I don't know. Most of the time I go cross corner. When you're tightening things up, go from one corner to the other. Okay, and I also put the cable that attaches that you're gonna plug the fan in with at the top here, because I know there's a fan header that's right at the top of the case, so I'm not worried about having to find some place to plug this in. Sometimes you might have to rotate the fan so that this cable can reach your fan header that's on your motherboard if you need to. Okay, so now we're going to mount the radiator to your case, and we're going to need these screws and most likely these washers that came with them. There are rubber grommets in these holes here, and if you screw them in with the metal grommet there, it will work. I wonder if these washers go. Yes, it does fit. It will hold it, but in time, that metal grommet, that rubber grommet, is probably going to fail because it's not designed to be set like that. It's not designed to be used like that. Okay, so getting these screws in sideways like this is going to be hard because, like I said, you're screwing these metal screws straight into this metal. And it's hard to see where the actual holes are. Hopefully you have better lighting than I do. Okay, I think that's okay. We'll get these last two in and then we'll crank them down. What's going on? Probabilitist 3. We're building a PC, that's what's going on. We're installing the all-in-one core right now, CPU core. We're trying to screw this metal screws into this metal radiator, and it's always a little bit tough. If you go to my Discord or Twitter, you'll see the parts that we're using. It's listed there. I'm just here checking it out, trying to learn. Sweet. Okay, so now we have that set in there. We're gonna tighten these up. Okay. Okay. Ba-dow. Let's see. So we have a couple headers up here on the motherboard, and again, if you look in your book, your motherboard book, it'll tell you where those exactly are. Hey Kieran, how you doing, sir? I'm thinking of purchasing a gaming PC and have no clue what's hot and what's not. What's hot is your budget. That's what's hot. So when you're in your motherboard book, you should be able to find where all of your headers are for your fans. And there is a system fan right up the top here that we're going to use. $3,000? Well, then you can have a pretty hot system. If you're spending $3,000. This system was only $1,600 in essence. $1,600. So we're going to plug that. This fan header right into this header down here. Okay, plugged in. Never built a PC from scratch, but I have installed a bunch of components, including a new motherboard. But if you installed a new motherboard, you pretty much installed a PC from scratch. If you ask me, you've already done it, right? I mean, if you're taking out a motherboard, that means you have to take everything off of it, put a new motherboard in, and that's what I did. Maybe except for your power supply, depending. Only thing I've done was replace the fan. You gotta start somewhere, right? If it's just replacing the fan, that's a start. Okay, so we're gonna plug in all of our I'm jumping all around here. I'm not doing this the same way I did the last 3 times. Pretty sure I did it all the last 3 times different as well. But I'm going to plug all these cables here into their respective slots on the motherboard. And again, you can find all that information in your book. So keep your book out and look through your book. If you've never done this before, read through your book. So you understand and you have an idea where to go to look for some information if you need it. So we do have 2 USB 3 ports. I'm gonna try to put that somewhere safe at the front of our system, and that's what this big ass cable here is for. And I'm going to run these all through the back and bring them in through the bottom, I think, where I need them. Okay, so we have our USB 3 connector, and then we have our audio connector. HD audio is written right on it. And I know these go at the very bottom typically of this system, so I'm going to run these through the bottom slot down here. And the HD audio goes into the HD audio slot, which is actually labeled on the motherboard as well. Which is way over here in the corner. And this is keyed as well, so find out where the missing key is at on your audio slot and then plug it in. Do not force it. If you have to force it, then you're probably putting it in wrong. You should push right in, and there's our audio cable plugged in. Okay, and this is our USB 3. And in, where is that slot at? Oh, it's not down there, it's actually up here. We actually have two USB 3.0 ports here, so I'm going to run this back up this way. And we're going to plug it into USB 3.0 number 1. And again, this is keyed as well, so it only goes in one way. And I want to show you me plugging it in, but you're going to have to suffer. Okay. Okay, so there's a USB 3.0 connector plugged in, and that's for the ports on the front of your system that I showed earlier. And then we have our fun cables. And these are for your power at the front of your system. Your power, your reset, your drive light. And something else. Reset switch, your power LED, your hard drive LED. And this is the hard one. Hard for me because I can't see. Okay, so with your case should have come, well, most of them come with this adapter. It makes it a little bit easier to plug these wires in. And a tiny instruction booklet that is just a couple pictures. So in essence, we need to match these up with our front panel I/O connector, which is down here. And again, that's in your manual. You could plug each of these cables directly into this slots, but it's easier to plug it into this contraption typically, and then plug it into the slot in one fell swoop. Typically, it's that way. Okay. So this has two different variations. This clip has two different variations. On one side has speaker, power, and power LED, and one side has the side we want, power LED plus and minus, reset, hard drive, and on off. So power switch, to figure out these things. Reset switch, okay. Reset switch goes here. And this is going to take a hot minute, okay? So bear with me as we do this. So since the audio is plugged in, we can do a song request. Yes, you can. Okay. Our LED is here. And these are a plus and a minus, and it tells you on the actual connector plus and minus. So you make sure you put those in the right ones. Let's go there. Okay, hard disk drive LED. Okay, And this one's labeled HD, so we're going to plug that one into there. Hard disk drive LED. And then our power switch. Go here. Okay. Now we have to figure out how this plugs into the connector on your motherboard. And again, it's keyed so that it should only go one way. And you can look at the missing pins on the bottom and line them up with the pins on the connector. Okay, so there are, I don't know if you can see that. So here's where we just plug that in. And that runs the lights and your switches on the front of the case up here. You got your power in and your reset, and it'll light up, and then the one blinks for the hard drive. The hard drive lights. When the hard drive's active, it blinks. Okay. We do have this front fan up here, so let's find a fan header for this to plug in. And there's a system fan header right here. So that's the closest, so we're just gonna plug that in. Again, I keep trying to do this sideways, and I need to do it up this way. Nice graphics on motherboard. As in nice graphics card, or nice graphics that you can see on the screen? I don't know. You really like the color combo? Yeah, it's all silver, gray, and black, which was really nice. There's no, what is Bitwit? Who is that? Bitwit? He calls it what? Mustard and ketchup? No mustard and ketchup cables. So yeah. Okay. We do this now? I guess we can do this now. Let's finish the all-in-one cooler. Let's finish that now, I guess. Yeah, we can do that now. Okay, so we need a back plate, which comes with this, with the system, with the all-in-one cooler. And it has sticky tape on it, so that I'll show you here. You peel the sticky tape off, you insert it into the predetermined holes back here. You might have to adjust these pins. They are adjustable, so that you can get them in these predetermined holes. Okay, and then once you know that's right, then you peel off this sticky tape, and this just helps hold it to the back of your motherboard so that you can do the front part. So peel that off, put these back in the holes, and then press this up against the metal that's there, and hopefully it's a good sticky. Hopefully it's a good stick. Okay. We'll find out here in a second when we flip it on its side. It falls off. Okay, so once we get those in, we need to put in our standoffs. Okay, that we pulled out earlier, and these actually screw into that back plate that we just put on there. Let me get one in so that it doesn't fall off, and then I'll show you. Okay, so that back plate has screw holes in the four corners. And so in here, we screw these standoffs into those holes. And I just finger tighten these in. Because that's what our block is going to be held on with, okay? So I'll talk this, I'll say this now, but then I'm going to flip on its side so I can do it. So this is going to come around and be mounted right on those standoffs that we just put in there, and this is what's going to cool your CPU. And I'm going to put it on its side so that I can do this. So what made you decide to go liquid over fan cooled? Previously, I lived in the area that I lived, the house that I lived, and where my computer was. I had a window air conditioning unit because the house AC wasn't enough to cool that room. It was a frog. It was a finished room over the garage, but it wasn't a really old house, so the AC up there wasn't very good. So I decided that the system I built was going to have a water cooler just to help it out, you know, so that it was at least pulling as much heat off of the processor as I could. And that system died like 10 years later, and previous systems that I've had, I've just continued to use the water cooler. I think it's quiet, and it's worked for me. So I just stick with what works. So that's the primary reason, is that I've had them before, and they've worked well. I've had them in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different systems, and I've never had any issues with them, and they've done a great job. And most of them are, I mean, I don't buy the ones that are like, you can monitor everything, blah, 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 with your thing. It's the $60 one. It's the $60 all-in-one cooler. I mean, you can pay $200, I think, for the high-end one if you want. But to me, it's reliable. Hey, G3R1. This is G3R1. How you doing, sir? Welcome. Okay. So now that I'm ready to mount this, I get my screws ready to secure it. I'm going to remove this plastic lid here to expose my radiator fluid. What is that stuff called? My radiator gel, whatever it is. We're gonna set this down on here. Hopefully. Once we get it down on there, hold it. Don't move it around, because you don't want the radiator gel to go anywhere. Get these screws on here to get it secure so it doesn't move around. This is a PG rated show, right? Exposing stuff right and left. The channel is rated M, so just so you know. You had to agree to it when you first got here. Thermal paste, thank you. Thank you, Prob. The stuff that makes your CPU go faster, thermal paste. Okay, so when you tighten this on finger tight, go opposite sides till you can't turn it with your pointer and your thumb. And we're gonna mess with it again a little bit later. Okay, voila, it is mounted. We'll be able to move these tubes around when we need to. We do have two more connectors. One runs the pump and one runs probably lights, I think. So we're gonna plug this one into the CPU fan header. And I pull them apart so that, because one's gonna run over here and one's gonna run right above to where the fan header is at. And again, I'm gonna set this down while I'm doing this. CPU fan, and that's the one I'm gonna plug this one into. CPU optional. I moved this fan. I moved the fan for the radiator to the CPU optional header instead of the what is it called? Just called a system fan header. Okay. So now again, this I think runs the lights and stuff, and you can actually, I think with Corsair software, you can actually see the pump and all that stuff with it. But we have to plug that in after we plug in these next cables that we're gonna have. Okay, so CPU is in, mounted, the water cooler is attached, plugged, partially plugged in, our RAM is plugged in, we have our hard drives already mounted, our power supply is here. We are going to attach the cables now for that. And we also need to attach the SATA cables for our hard drives. And I still feel like I'm missing something. I don't know why. But since it's a modular power supply, where's Bucky? There he is. We get separate cables. What I thought was funny is it still comes with here's here's a Molex cable to a floppy drive. If you guys are still using floppy drives, then you need a new system. There's two of those, a Molex to a floppy drive. Okay. And here's a set of Molex cables. Here's a second set of Molex cables. Okay, and here are the ones we need. We might not, we might only need one of these actually, hopefully, we'll see. And then we have our GPU cable. We're only gonna need, I'm not sure if we'll need one or two. I think we're gonna need one for that video card that we have. We don't have a sound card. We just use the onboard sound. If you want to be an audio file, then you can order your own sound card and install that. But all of my systems, I think only one of my systems had a Sound Blaster sound card in it. Actually, I think it's in a closet. It is. Sound Blaster. I don't even know how old this is. Or what model it is. It's a Sound Blaster 0610 model. SB0610. I have no idea what model this is, but it is a Sound Blaster. You tend to use a Sound Blaster series? I tend to use the onboard audio. Okay. Oh, and also there is a plastic cover on the Corsair water block, so make sure you peel that off. Ta-da! Okay. Okay. So we're gonna need some SATA cables. We're gonna need at least 2 of them. Of course, they put different cables in each one, so we got to open up both packages, which kind of sucks. Because I want to use the L connector ends. In essence, there's the one that's straight, and then there's one that is shaped like an L. I want to use the L connectors. And there's one in each bag, and there's 2 bags, so open both bags. Pull the connectors out. Okay. Actually, I don't think we can use both of them. We would have to move that drive. Oh, I guess we're using one of each. Okay. So this just plugs into your hard drive, and then the other end plugs into your SATA 3 slot. And I always try to go 0 first. I always try to use the one that's marked as 0 first, and then work my way down. So on your motherboard, you have your SATA 3 slots, and this motherboard has everything labeled. So it has 1 and 0, 3 and 2, 5 and 4. So just plugged it into that first one. We can tuck this cable a little bit back. I don't know an easy way to do this. And then we're going to plug that into our bottom SSD drive. And then we will have to use a straight cable, because we can't plug another L drive into that one, an L connector into that one. So we're going to plug this one into number 1. Tuck that cable back a little bit. And then we're going to plug this into the top hard drive. And bend that cable so that it bends down a little bit there. Okay. We're going to need the power cable for that, so that these things have power. I'm going to take a look and see which one. We need 3 connectors, and it looks like we should be able to go from here to the first one to the second one, and then we can get this extra cable that we need for our block up at the top. So we could just use this one cable to power all this stuff. I'm going to plug this into the peripheral and SATA connectors on our power supply. And I always go for the farthest one away, so that later on it's a little easier to get in here if you don't want to take your whole system apart and take your video cards out and all that stuff. And we're going to plug this to some cable routing here. Hopefully this is the way they go. These are keyed, so they only go one way, and of course it doesn't go the way I want them to go. Damn it. I think they do that shit on purpose. Or should I just flip the cards over? Would that make a difference? Because it's keyed to go on up like this. Should we just flip those? Okay. Pull this out. Pull this one out. And if we flip it like this, that doesn't help either, because then the other cable is whacked too. We do it like we have to do that one there, and then we would do this one here. It's screwy either way you do it. It's screwy. Okay. You have a Bose PC speaker system. Well, see, the problem with that is a lot of the games I play, since I have a significant other, and because a lot of times I chat with the people I'm playing with, I can't really use external speakers. At one time, I did, when I was single. Come on, why is this so damn hard? But once you start playing games where you're talking to other people, you can't really use speakers. You have to have headphones and a mic. And now I can't get this damn thing to screw in. Same, and headphones get me in trouble because I don't ever hear my wife. Yeah, that's not going to work because the holes don't want to line up now that I flipped them. Okay, this is taking way too long. It's just a damn hard drive. What are you doing? Okay. Goes right in when they're in that way. Okay, back to the way we were. Okay, so we're gonna have to do it that way, I guess. Even though I think that's dumb, but for now, we still need to be able to test this thing, right? So, these are keyed. They only go in one way, so don't force them. They don't go, flip it over. The way it is. You can. You can even see. I can even see. Ugh! My back's starting to hurt. Okay. That's not gonna work either. Because I can't get that to... That won't even fit. That won't fit right there. First time it was regular hard drives in the slots. Now it's SSD drives in slots. What's next? Come on, damn it. Okay. We have to do that. We have to do that. Okay. And then we're gonna do this plugs into here. However that works. Let's see. Way. Okay. That, and that. I think that's good. Where's that screw at? So I put the other hard drive on equal side, on the same side. They're both on the bottom slot. And we're gonna screw this hard drive in. Okay. go away, please. Okay. What's next? What's last? Everything's plugged in that I know of, right? Video card. So we got a RTX. This is the first time I've ever used one of these. An RTX 2070 Super. 2-pound SIM cards in slot. Well, let's take a look at this. And see. This should work great on this motherboard since it's a gigabyte motherboard and it's a gigabyte video card, right? Comes with this cool box of probably stickers. Wrap that you can't open. There we go. Oh yes, look at that. This huge ass box for what? Graphics quick card, a CD, which no one will ever use. No stickers? What? Maybe it's in the CD folder. Nope, no stickers. You gotta be joking, right? So let's see, we have instruction manual here, which is so small that even a 4-year-old couldn't read it. Okay. Good thing I'm not 4 years old, right? Here is our video card. There's no stickers. Gigabyte qualified, it says. There's a seal on it. It says Gigabyte qualified. Whatever the hell that means. Okay. I did two earlier. One to get out of bed and another partially leaving my desk at the office. Have I done any push-ups? No, and I'm not going to do any push-ups tonight, so don't. So don't. So please hold off until tomorrow or Sunday. Okay, so this video card uses 2 slots in the back, so I'm going to unscrew 2 of these slots on the back of our system. And pull out the protective cover there's. So in the back of your system, pulled out 2 of these slots. Most likely going to use those 2. Remove this 3rd screw just because. Where did I put those screws now? Because a lot of times that top screw actually gets in the way. So let's take a look at this massive video card we have here. Look at this puppy. Oh, look, it's all silver and black as well. And it has a back plate on it as well. Yep, girl, did you hear that? Karen is still waiting on his song request. I don't have song requests. So yeah. So here's our Gigabyte RTX. It's a Windforce, right? I think. Yes, it's a Windforce OC3X8G. So it's got 8 gig of RAM on it. And it has really cool graphics on the box. Look at that. Look at all that cold air blowing around. 2-ounce copper PCB, solid capacitors, metal chokes. Man, all those words, I don't even know what they mean. It does have a protector on the pins here at the bottom. It actually has an 8 and a 6 Now I'm gonna have to try to read that thing. It has an 8 and a 6-pin connector for power. Boo! Booyah! Save that bag. Okay, let's find that stupid book and see if... I'm assuming we have to use both. Important information. Did I throw it away? The Gigabyte Quick Start Guide. Oh, let's put this up here on top of this. There's no way I can read. I'll be right back. Wait. I had to pull out the old man glasses. Okay. These really aren't broken in the middle. I just put that tape there to look kind of geeky. Okay. See, now I can't read, where's English? Oh my God, there's so many different languages. English. There was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 different languages on this thing. You gotta be kidding me. Okay, where's English? Here it is. English show. Make sure the computer is turned off and the power cable is unplugged. Okay, I think we're good there. Remove the chassis cover and locate. Okay. Insert the card into the slot. Okay. Screw in the bracket of the card to the chassis and close the chassis cover. What? Connect the appropriate cable, HDMI. It doesn't ever tell you to plug it in. Insert the card into the slot until it's firmly in place. If necessary, plug in the external power cord. That's... Okay, well, we're gonna use both of them. That's some stupid shit right there. What do I do with my case? Let's see. Gambling is fun. Oh, those are the ones that need to take. Yeah, my reader glasses. Yes, those are the ones that need to take one. Okay, so we're gonna use both slots, both connectors. So we're gonna end up having 2 connectors coming out of the that thing, whatever it's called. HDMI. This card is kind of... It has 3 DisplayPort connectors and it has 1 HDMI display card. I hope I have a monitor that has HDMI on it, because the monitor back there that you can see, I broke it today. And I can't... See? It stays white. It fell over, and you can actually, if I would show you, but it would has a it like hit the corner of a box and it shattered the screen, and it will not work now. Okay, so we need to take this off because it won't go in without that, with that on. And we're gonna put this puppy in here, hopefully not dropping it. Unlock the slot. It's easier to do from this side because you can see the slot and you can see the cable. Oh, Christmas. Are you kidding me? I have to take this other screw out. I took out the wrong screw. I knew it was one of them. That was going to be in the way. Okay. Let's try it again. So it goes into the slots. Line it up here. Hopefully. Come on, baby. Okay. There we go. We're in there. Voila. Okay, let's put these screws back in. I really like that 49-inch Samsung curved QLED gaming monitor. Yeah. There's your $3,000 gone. How much do those things cost? I have a 27 inch 8,000 or 800. 800. 144 megahertz 2K screen. Is that what I would call it? A 2K? What is the hertz on that 49-inch Samsung curved? Is it 60? Okay, so we got all the screws back in. And now we got to put some power to this puppy. Oh, it is a 144. Does it have G-Sync or FreeSync? G-Sync? I don't know what AMD's word is, but NVIDIA's is G-Sync. Does it have G-Sync too? So you don't get tearing. Okay, I'm gonna save that. I'm gonna save that. We need power. Power. Okay. Oh, it looks like we might be able to just use one. Let's see, 6 and an 8. Let's see, let's pull this apart. FreeSync with HDR. They say FreeSync isn't that great. What I heard. But still, it's 800. That's a lot for a monitor. I'm not gonna pay a lot for that monitor. Estabax 15, thank you for the follow. Thank you, sir. Okay, so we have an 8 when we attach this, and then we have a 6 there. So we only still need one cable, which is nice. Okay, so we're gonna find the PCIe slot on our power supply. Probabilities 3, thank you for the follow. Do you hear my cat dying? Hater. He was just crying. Oh my goodness. Okay, so the PCIe slot ones, of course, are on the back side here. So I'm going to pull this one off here for a second. And we're going to plug this one back here in. And then we're going to plug this one back in. Okay. Hi. Is that Lord? Yes. Could you actually hear him? Okay. So here is our power cable, and we are going to do one 8-pin. I'm going to pull that together and plug you in here to the 8-pin slot, and it'll click and stick. And then we have a 6-pin right here, right next to it. And we're going to plug that in. And that should click and stick, and we are ready to go. Okay. That's plugged in, that's plugged in. That's plugged in, that's plugged in, that's plugged in. That's plugged in, that's plugged in. That's plugged in, that's plugged in, that's plugged in. Those all appear to be plugged in. You did hear him? I don't know why he does that. He has food and water. Okay. Let me get rid of some of this stuff here. We need to, I think we're at the plug-in part here. We're getting close. DDR4, yes. It's it's Corsair DDR4, 16 gigabytes, and it's 32 megahertz, 3,200 megahertz, and we got 16 gig in here. Well, hello to you too, crybaby. What are you doing? So I do have another monitor here, and I got to figure out which of these USB sticks is Windows. Bus speed for the RAM, 3200 or 32 gig megahertz, 3.2 megahertz. Is 16 good or is 32 overkill? Typically, if you don't have any bottlenecks anywhere, 16 is probably good, depending on what you're running. I've ended up putting 32 in all of my systems, which is overkill, but there's no medium between 16 and 32. You either put 16 in or you put 32 in. I wouldn't go below 16, and I wouldn't go over 32 if you're building a gaming machine. So my machine streams, so I like the 32. I guess you could do 28 if you do some weird chipset, right? I mean, usually they come in 8. Usually they come in 8s, right? No, there's 4 RAM slots, and we have 2 8 gig sticks right now. So if need be, if Bruce decides, he can put in 16 more. Well, if you do 2 4s, I guess you can do 8s as well, yes. But I mean, if you're gonna do 2 4s, you might as well do 2 8s. And on RAM, I would say too much is better than not enough, right? If you're maxing out 16 gig of RAM playing your games, then you need to put in 32. I don't think that's going to happen though. Right? I don't think you're gonna max out your RAM at 16 playing video games. Hopefully this stick is not a wipe disk, right? Okay. So the cat's back. I'm just gonna get all this stuff off my desk here. That there. We don't need these books. I don't need these books. Somebody else does. On these zip ties. Okay. Here we have a mouse and a keyboard, a power supply. Okay. Hey Quishy, how are you doing? Welcome to the stream. Yes, we're using Windows 10. I don't know, never played CP games, so was wondering what was most beneficial, 16 or 32. I would say, I typically say get 16. If you need more, you can add more, but 16 should be more than enough. You have USB ports, etc. in the front. Yes, there are two USB 3.0 ports in the front, on the front of the machine, and then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 USB ports on the back. You missed the stream, Bushy. We're at the most delicate part now, the boot up part. I need to find a monitor that has USB on it. And you know what? I'm screwed because I think that monitor over there is what had it. How are we gonna do this? How am I gonna do this? I destroyed the monitor that I was going to use for boot purposes. I have another stick. I don't know what that's on. I don't know what's on that either. Shit. No, that's not it. Which monitor was I going to use? Can't use that one. Oh, I don't know what monitor I'm going to use. Shit. Network. Power. Okay, make sure nothing smokes when I plug that in. Nothing smoking. swore that was the one I was gonna use. I gotta have a cable, right? I gotta have a converter cable. Don't. I know I don't. Oh. Oh. Yeah. Okay, we got it. Shit. DVI to DisplayPort. Thank God for DVI to DisplayPort. Okay, we got it. We got it. This is where everyone goes, oh shit, it didn't work. Okay. Put this back. Oh, it's upside down. Why did they do that? Okay, pull that off. Where's the slash? Okay, this looks like the slash is this way. Plugged in. Let's give the monitor some juice. Okay, we need a keyboard and mouse. That fit. I'm gonna turn the power supply on. I think that's everything. Okay. Is that plugged in? That's plugged in. Right? O for on, right? Oh. This happened last time. That's off, correct? That's on. We're not getting any power. Did I plug in the power cord? I'm pretty sure it's plugged in. Yes. Let me make sure it's all the way in. Power. Has power. Nothing. So now we get to troubleshoot, unplug. First thing I'm going to check is this connection here, which plugs into our front power. And we'll reseat this and let's see if that makes a difference. PW. Have you tried plugging in the power? Yes, the power is plugged in. The power strip light is on and it's got a green saying that I'm good. Oh. So the power is seeded to the motherboard up there, the 12 volt. I'm thinking it might be this here, because this doesn't give me a good indication of what the hell the connector is. This one connector, I'm not trusting myself to this connector. Could be this one here. I think it's this one here. Let me reseat this. Do this here. And this here. Okay. Do whatever you just did and look at the back. It was working? What did I just do? I mean, I'm not getting any power whatsoever. Nothing's coming on at all. I might have to do Motherboard. Look at the back. Oh, the network light is blinking. But is that from the cable or is that from... Yeah. Oh! Okay, we got lights. We got monitor. Okay. Windows is loading. I don't know why things always have to be difficult for me. Yes. Ugh. Where's this at? Give me this. Give me this. Oh, 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 that's not the right stick. Okay. Maybe let's try another one. Okay, so that's the wrong USB stick. Oh, I have two more. That's what happens when you don't label things. Okay, let's try this one. Doesn't like that boot stick either. We're getting there. We have another one. Okay, power off. Power on. Okay, that looks like Windows loading there. There we go. Okay. English, next. Install now. That's clean. I don't know how I like the blacked out best because all the crazy RGBs. Third time's a charm. Now label the flash. Yeah, I do need to do that. Okay, I don't have a product key. Oh, what if I do next? Oh, okay. I do have a product key, but we're not using it. So, and we're doing Windows 10 Pro. Next. I do need to label this. Yeah. At one time or another, I might have liked the RGB, but I mean, it gets put in the corner and it sits there. I don't look at it. Let me cover it outside. Where is Bucky? Where's my buck knife? Where did I put him? I lose everything. Here it is. This is my army knife. Well, I got this in high school before I joined the army. And it is sharp as a... You can still shave with it, I think. It's pretty sharp. I love it. It's my favorite knife. It's my only knife, actually. I went to Fort Jackson for basic training, but I wasn't stationed there. I went to Fort Jackson for basic training in South Carolina, and then I went to Fort Gordon, Georgia for my army training. And then from there, I actually got stationed in Hawaii for 3 years. So I was in the 125th Signal Battalion in Hawaii. And then from there, I went to the 25th Infantry Division in Hawaii. And then from there, I went to Washington, D.C. to the White House. And now I live in Wilmington. So when I got out of the army, I moved to Wilmington, North Carolina, and that's where I live now. Yes, I am Wilmington volleyball. Hawaii is the shit. Been there once, and it won't be the last time. My girlfriend hasn't been there yet, and she's like, I really want to go. I really want to go. And I'm like, I've already been there. Your wife's sister lives near Wilmington? Really? Your wife's sisters live near Wilmington. So after this doesn't take too long to get Windows on there. Once that's done, we'll go into the BIOS and we'll make sure that the memory is running at speed and that everything looks okay in there. I should probably go into BIOS before I install Windows, but I just get too excited. especially when everything works. Hey, Mandy885U, how you doing? Welcome. Welcome to Etc. You missed it. We built this PC tonight. All the parts we put in tonight, built a brand new PC. I'm doing great. I'm doing great that this thing booted. I am so happy. I was so nervous all day long thinking about, will all the parts work? Because nothing's been, I ordered it parts, they come in, and then once they're all here, then I schedule the stream and put all the parts in, and there's no testing beforehand. This is the test. This is the 4th one I've done this year. In essence, yeah, this year, the 4th one I've built, and it's everything up here so far has been working. Yes, we are finished. We are installing Windows right now. Once this finishes the initial install of Windows, we're going to go into BIOS and make sure the memory is running at, the memory is running at the correct speed. And we can look at the cool, the BIOS screen. It's pretty cool. It's got spinny fans and all kinds of stuff. How much TB does it have? TB as in hard drive space? Total bytes? Is that what you're asking? It has one 250 gigabyte. It doesn't have any. It doesn't have terabytes. It has a 250 gigabyte SSD drive as C drive for the boot drive, and then it has a 1 terabyte hard drive as the D drive. For all the games that my friend is going to put on this thing. Yeah, the Division 2. I'll probably install Wolfenstein, the new Wolfenstein. What is the one with the girls? Wolfenstein, I forget what it's called. I might install that. Clan night tomorrow. Yes. What do you want, Vader? Windows is almost installed. Wolfenstein Youngblood. Yes, that's the one. You deserve this. This is for a really good friend. Actually, oh my God, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Vandy. I appreciate that. Okay, United States. You like the lightning? I love the freaking lightning sound. Thank you so much. US, skip. Just a moment. Okay. I have to be careful because earlier I destroyed one of my monitors. Okay, always set it up for your organization and tell it next. And domain join instead. And then give it a name. They call me Bruce. Next. And the password is top secret, so I'm not going to enter it. No. Turn all this crap off. Privacy settings off, off, off. Microsoft does not need to know what we're doing. Accept. How long did it take to build? It's been It's 2 hours and 52 minutes. So almost 3 hours. And it's going to take several more minutes, it says. You had to build your PC in like 1 month. Were you able to eat while you were building it? It just took you long to buy the parts? You didn't get to eat? Yes, true. It could have been shorter. And it would have been a lot shorter if I didn't say anything, if I didn't like describe what I was doing and tried to explain what I was doing as well. But it's typically taken me about 3 hours to do a full build as I explain things as I go. Oh, here comes Vader. Just so many things are in your PC. What are you doing, Vader? Could have been shorter, but he had, yeah. Yeah, I don't know what on and off is. What do you want, Vader? You gotta get out of the way. Come here. Come on. Oh. Oh. Okay, Windows is installed. Shut down. Okay, we're gonna remove this. I have to mark it with a W. It's gonna get stuck in the fan. Star Wars music. I do have Star Wars music. Should I do it? Kieran, should I do it? I don't think he'll sit on the table. At least he won't look at you guys. What's I gonna do? Okay, on. And I think it's delete, right? Oh, I didn't do it fast enough. New follower, Mandy. Thank you for the follow, Mandy. And the sub. That's awesome. You're awesome. Okay, you're gonna go down for a sec. I have to get this into. I want to get this into BIOS. If Amazon Prime Power. It's booting so fast. I can't get it. It's booting too fast, damn it. There we go. Okay. See, the memory's wrong. So we got to fix that. Frequency is 4.3 gigahertz. Okay, let's see. BIOS, peripherals. I need to look at this, sorry. Let's see. Numlock state is on. Security options, boot, Windows Manager, fast boot enabled. Data, normal boot, mouse. That looks okay. I need to get into the Memory settings, I think. There we go. Save. I don't want to save and exit, I just want to save. Easy mode. Oh, there we go. Look at all this cool stuff. You guys probably can hardly even see that. We got spinning fans telling us how fast we're going. Can we get our speed up? Our memory speed is still at 21. We need to save it, I think. Okay, it's delete. The delete key to get there. How much frames per second? It depends on. I'm assuming that this video card is it's an RTX 2070 Super. There we go. Frequency 3200. So our memory is good to go now. Our CPU is running at 4.3 gigahertz. Our temperature is 35 degrees Celsius. I think that's about it. That's all we need to really screw with in here. The I don't have a quick game to install, but I have a 1070 in my system, and it and it runs Grand Theft Auto 5 at like 180 frames per second. I would have to run like one of those like tester things, right? That like I forget what they're called. I don't know if I have one on a USB stick to install it. Peripherals. I'm probably going to go through all this again later. Is that the right date? Wednesday the 25th, 22. Yeah, 22/25. That's correct. Boot drives, Windows boot, save and exit. I'm going to jump into Windows real quick and so is this system for a mutual friend, Bruce? Yes, it is, Kieran. 35 Celsius is, yeah. I would look at my system, but I can't because I'm streaming on it right now. How do you get the disk management? $499 megabytes. Okay. Volume label. One. Wait. For now. Cool, I need to give him a call and see how he's doing. He better be watching this. I texted him. So I'm gonna need to go and like install NVIDIA drivers and all that stuff too. And then I gotta register Windows. Download Chrome. And get rid of this thing. What is that one tester? Well, see you later. Have a good night. You too, Mandy. Thank you for coming. Thank you for the sub. I appreciate that very much. Let's see. I've been getting tons of messages. Uh-oh. Oh, he said he watched, Karen, he said he watched the stream. Benchmark. User benchmark. Oh, 3D Mark. Isn't that the one they use, 3D Mark? I don't know if it would give us a good test because, like I said, we don't have any of the drivers installed. And Bing sucks, it appears. It wouldn't even go to the page. What is it called? 3dmark.com. Okay. Oh, well, I'm not paying for it. Isn't there a free one? Our older benchmarks are available to download for free, but are unsupported and may not work with current operating system. Get it from Steam, it says. Well, we'll have to do it later. Okay, so in essence, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sit here and install some drivers, the NVIDIA drivers. That's probably about it. And then probably find, I know there's another benchmarking tool that's free. I'll find something to run on it and burn it in all night long and make sure that in the morning it's still running. Then I will go through and tweak all the screws, and I still need to put a big W on this USB drive. So I gotta mark it some way. Let's put a thing through there. And then tie down the cables and make it kind of neat inside so that the air flows uninterrupted and that type of stuff. Cinnbench is a good, okay, Cinnbench, okay. And clean up my desk. Cinnbench. Okay. And clean up my desk here. And let this thing burn in. That's most likely what we're gonna do for the rest of the time. And so with that, I'm gonna say thank you all for showed up. Thank you all for the follows as well. Let's take a look. I had to find a mouse that works. Let's see. SBax15 for the follow. Probabilities. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. And again, Mandy for the follow and the subscription. Thank you very much. That's awesome. And oh look, oh my God, we got our followers goal with 300. We broke 300 finally. Followers goal. Thank you, brother, for the build, and very happy for the tips. Hey, anytime, man. If you have any questions or anything, I'm more than happy to tell you what I do and how I do things when I'm looking to build something for someone. If you're looking at a $3,000 budget, you can build a pretty nice system. You can build a pretty whacked out system. So that's the hardest part. The really the hardest part is just picking what you want, because there's so much out there. There's so much to pick from. And you can blow a lot of money really quick on getting high end items, but sometimes a lot of that stuff you won't use the specific things that come with them, like the gaming motherboards and stuff like that, which come with a lot of different ports that you'll probably never use, and options you'll probably never use. You'll look at it and go, yeah, that's cool, but I don't ever use it. But so that's really the hardest part, I think, is finding like a motherboard that fits your gaming needs without wasting money, in essence. You know, you can just go out and go get the Hero 10 or whatever motherboard, or the big boards, and with all the bells and whistles, but you'll never use them. You'll never use all that stuff. In my opinion, a lot of people never use that stuff, but you're gonna pay big bucks for it. And i9 and RTX 280T is definitely on the list. Yeah, I mean, that's something I would love to get, but I don't have those funds to do it. But yeah, the RTX 2080 Ti is definitely a great card. And the i9, I haven't even looked at the i9s because I can't afford them. So I'm not even so I don't even look at them. So I couldn't even tell you. But I mean, the 8700 with the K SKU for this on this system. So if he wants to overclock it, he can. And again, that's where the water, the all-in-one cooler comes in. That will definitely help if he decides to do that. It's a 6-core processor, which is great. I think, what is the i9? Is that 8-core? 8 core and up, I think. Those things, like I said, I haven't really looked at them because like I just can't. I'm not even gonna worry about those. I don't even look at them. My budgets don't meet that spec. Yeah, you're right. Longevity is definitely it's something that I hope to gain by the way I build my systems. And I'm hoping that this 8700s will last for 4 or 5, at least 5 years, with no issues. It's 8 core with 16 thread. Yeah, these are 6 cores. So, I mean, until game manufacturers start making them to use all those cores, if you're just building a gaming PC, we should be good. We should be good with 6 and 8 cores, you know? We should be good with those. And 16 gig of RAM. And again, like I said, I've always started off with 16, but I always end up putting 32 in. But 16 is usually enough because the video card you're using now has at least 8 gig of RAM on it, right? It's going to have enough RAM to do what it needs. It used to have to share it all, but now the video cards come with it, so you don't need as much on your system. A lot of it is going to be your video card, how good your video card is, and how much RAM your video card has in it. So, but it was great. So you didn't know that? Ah, okay. It was great talking with you, man. I love this type of chat questions. If I can answer the question, I will try to. I'm definitely not the end all to that knows shit. Okay. There's plenty of people out there you can go, like Paul's Hardware. I go watch him a lot. So Paul's Hardware on YouTube. And is it Bitwit, his friend Bitwit? I watch him a little bit. And then who's that other guy? Linus Tech Tips. I watched a little bit of him. Jay's 2 Cents, I think, is another guy. Those guys are nothing but PCs. So if you need to dig deep, that's where I go to dig deeper to see if I can find answers to things, and they have the money, and they have the manufacturers just send them shit to test. So PC Part Picker is a great place. PC Part Picker is a great place. Yes, I use PC Picker all the time. I do. So yeah. Okay, I'm gonna sit here and talk forever, but I need to get these drivers installed. I need to clean up this area. This place is a mess. I need to go play with Vader because he's still being a pain in the ass, and he needs some loving. And I need to get something to drink. I stream on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Sundays, and sometimes Saturdays, and sometimes Thursdays. So even when I'm streaming, if you want to talk PCs, if you're here, just let me know. Priscilla's still at work. She's not even home yet. Now I'm not gonna be able to get this damn tape off my glasses. But yeah, I'll give her a hug for you, Karen. She should be watching this. Yeah, she said she was gonna work late, and she knew I was doing this, so she said she was gonna watch. So we'll see. I'll ask her some questions about what happened and see if she can answer them. Okay, you guys all have a good one. Thank you again for being here, and hopefully I'll see you again. Let me get to this thing here. Okay.